Chapter 10. The rest of the summer tournament goes by in a blur. Swordsfolk go toe to toe against one another in single combat, fighting for the honor of impressing the High King and his court. Ogres and foxkin, goblins and gwyllions, all engaged in the deadly dance of battle. After a few rounds, Vivi wants us to push through the crowd and buy more fruit skewers. I keep trying to catch Tarin's eye, but she won't allow it. I want to know if she's angry. I want to ask what Locke said to her when they were standing together, although that might be the exact sort of question she would forbid. But the conversation with Locke couldn't have been the humiliating kind, the kind she tries to prevent away. Could it? Not when he practically told me he delighted in Cardan's being brought low, which makes me think of the other question I can't ask Tarin. Not that I'd be the first to grin-gone her. Fairies can't lie. Cardan couldn't have said it if he didn't believe it to be true, but why would he think that? Vivi knocks her skewer against mine, bringing me out of my reverie. To our clever youth, who made the folk remember why they stay in their barrows and hills, for fear of mortal ferocity. A tall man with the floppy ears of a rabbit and a mane of walnut brown hair turns to give Vivi a dirty look. She grins at him. I shake my head, pleased by her toast, even if it's wild exaggeration, even if I impressed no one but her. Would that youth was just a bit less clever, Tarin says under her breath. I turn to her, but she has moved away. When we get back to the arena, Princess Rhea is readying herself for her bout. She holds a thin sword, very much like a long pin, and stabs at the empty air in preparation for an opponent. Her two lovers call out encouragement. Cardan re-emerges in the royal box, wearing loose white linen and a flowered crown of all of roses. He ignores the High King and Priest Dane and flops down in a chair beside Prince Balikin, with whom he exchanges a few sharp words that I dearly wish I were close enough to hear. Princess Kaelia has arrived for her sister's boat and applauds wildly when Rhea walks out onto the clover. Madoc never returns. I ride home alone. Vivi heads off with Rhea after she wins her boat. They are going hunting in the nearby woods. Tarin agrees to accompany them, but I am too weary and too sore and too on edge. In the kitchens of Madoc's house, I toast cheese over a fire and spread it on bread. Sitting on the stoop with that and a mug of tea, I watch the sun go down as I eat my lunch. The cook, a drow named Wattle, ignores me and continues magicking the parsnips to chop themselves. When I am done, I brush crumbs from my cheeks and head for my room. Narbonne, a servant with long ears and a tail that drags on the ground, stops in the hall when he sees me. He's carrying a tray of thimble-sized acorn cups and a silvery decanter of what smells like blackberry wine in his large clawed hands. His livery is pulled tight across his chest, and pieces of fur stick out of the gaps. "Oh, you're home," he says, a growl in his voice that makes him seem menacing, no matter how benign the words he speaks. Despite myself, I can't help thinking of the guard who bit off the tip of my finger. Narbonne's teeth could snap off my whole hand. I nod. "The prince is asking for you downstairs." "Cardan? Here?" My heartbeat speeds. I can't think. "Where?" Narbonne looks surprised by my reaction. "I'm in Madoc's study. I was just bringing him this." I grab the tray out of his hands and head down the stairs, intent on getting rid of Cardan as quickly as I can. Any way that I can. The last thing I need is for Madoc to overhear my being disrespectful and decide I'll never belong at the court. He's a servant of the Greenbrier line, sworn as surely as anyone. He would not like my being at odds with being even the least of the princes. I fly down the stairs and kick open the door to Maddox's study. The knob crashes into a bookshelf as I stride into her room, plunking down the tray with enough force to make the caps dance. Prince Dane has several books lying open on the library table in front of him. Golden curls fall over his eyes, and the collar of his pale blue doublet is open, showing a heavy silver torque at his throat. I halt, aware of the colossal mistake I have made. He raises both eyebrows. Jude, I didn't expect you to be in such a rush. I sink into a low bow and hope he will think me only clumsy. Fear gnaws at me, sharp and sudden. Could Cardan have sent him? Is he here to punish me for my insolence? I can think of no other reason that honored and honorable Prince Dane, soon to be the ruler of Faerie, would ask for me. Huh? I say, panic tripping my tongue. With relief I remember the tray and indicate the decanter. Here, this is for you, my lord. He picks up an acorn and pours a little of the thick black liquid into the cup. Will you drink with me? I shake my head, feeling completely out of my depth. It will go straight to my head. That makes him laugh. Well then, keep me company a time. Of course, that I cannot possibly refuse. Alighting on an arm of one of the green leather chairs, I feel my heart thud dully. May I get you anything else? I ask, not sure how to proceed. He lifts his acorn cup as if in salute. I have refreshment enough. What I require is conversation. Perhaps you can tell me what made you storm in here. Who did you think I was? No one, I say quickly. My thumb wraps over my ring finger, over the smooth skin of the missing tip. He sits up straighter, as though I am suddenly much more interesting. I thought maybe one of my brothers was bothering you. I shake my head. Nothing like that. It's shocking, he says, as though he's giving me some great compliment. I know humans can lie, but to watch you do it is incredible. Do it again. I feel my face hit. I do it again, he repeats gently. Don't be afraid. Only a fool wouldn't be, despite his words. Prince Dane came here when Maddox was not at home. He asked for me specifically. He implied he knew about Cardan. Perhaps he glimpsed us after the mock war. Cardan jerking my head by my braid. But what does Dane want? I am breathing too shallowly, too fast. Dane, about to be crowned the High King, has the power to grant me a place in the court, the power to gainsay Maddox and make me a knight. If only I could impress him, he could give me everything I want, everything I thought I lost my shot at. I draw myself up and look into the silver grey of his eyes. My name is Jude Duarte. I was born November 13th, 2001. My favorite color is green. I like folk and sad ballads and chocolate-covered raisins. I can swim. Now tell me, which part was the lie? Did I lie at all? Because what's no great about lying is the not knowing. I realize abruptly that he might not take any bow particularly seriously from me after that little performance. He looks pleased, though, smiling at me as if he'd found a rough ruby lying in the dirt. Now, he says, tell me how your father uses that little talent of yours. I blink, confused. Really? He doesn't? What a shame. The prince tilts his head to study me. Tell me what you dream of, you Duarte, if that's your true name. Tell me what you want. My heart hammers in my chest, and I feel a little light-headed, a little dizzy. Surely it can be this easy. Prince Dane, soon to be the High King of all Faerie, asking me what I want. I barely dare answer, and yet I must. I I want to be your knight, I stammer. His eyebrows go up. Unexpected, he says. And pleasing. What else? I don't understand. I twist my hands together so he can't see how they are shaking. Desire is an odd thing. As soon as it's sated, it transmutes. If we receive golden thread, we desire the golden needle. And so, You Duarte, I am asking you what you would want next if I made you part of my company. To serve you, I say, still confused. To pledge my sword to the crown. He waves off my answer. No, tell me what you want. Ask me for something. Something you've never asked from anyone. Make me no longer mortal, I think. And then I am horrified at myself. I don't want to want that, especially because there is no way to get it. I will never be one of the folk. I take a deep breath. If I could ask him for any boon, what would it be? I understand the danger, of course. Once I tell him, he's going to try to strike a bargain, and fiery bargains seldom favor the mortal. But the potential for power dangles before me. My thoughts go to the necklace at my throat, the stink of my own palm against my cheek, the sound of Oak's laughter. I think of Cardan. See what we can do with a few words. We can enchant you to run around on all fours barking like a dog. We can curse you to wither away for want of a song you'll never hear again or a kind word from my lips. To resist enchantment, I say, trying to will myself to stillness, trying not to fidget. I want to seem like a serious person who makes serious bargains. He regards me steadily. You already have true sight, given to you as a child. Surely you understand our ways. You know the charms. Salt our food, and you destroy any ensorcement on it. Turn your stockings inside out, and you will never find yourself led astray. Keep your pockets full of dried raw and berries, and your mind won't be influenced. The last few days have shown me how woefully inadequate those protections are. What happens when they turn out my pockets? What happens when they rip my stockings? What happens when they scatter my salt in the dirt? He regards me thoughtfully. Come closer, child, he says. I hesitate. From all I have observed of Prince Dane, he has always seemed like a creature of honor, but what I have observed is painfully little. Come now, if you're going to serve me, you must trust me. He's leaning forward in the chair. I notice the small horns just above his brow, parting his hair on either side of his regal face. I notice the strength in his arms and the signet ring gleaming on one long finger hand, carved with the symbol of the Greenbrier line. I slide from the chair arm and walk over to where he sits. I force myself to speak. I didn't mean to be disrespectful. He touches a bruise on my cheek, one I hadn't realized was there. I flinch, but I don't move away from him. Cardan is a spoiled child. It is well known in the court that he squanders his lineage on drink and petty squabbles. No, don't bother to object. I don't. I wonder how it was that Narbonne came to tell me only that a prince was waiting for me downstairs, but not which prince. I wonder if Dane told him to give me that specific message. A well-seasoned strategist waits for the right opportunity. Although we are brothers, we are very different from each other. I will never be cruel to you for the sake of delighting in it. If you swear yourself into my service, you will find yourself rewarded. But what I want you for is not knighthood. My heart sinks. It was too much to believe that a prince of fire had dropped by to make all my dreams come true. But it was nice while it lasted. Then, what do you want? Nothing you haven't already offered. You wanted to give me your oath and your sword. I accept. I need someone who can lie, someone with ambition. Spy for me. Join my court of shadows. I can make you powerful beyond what you might ever hope. It's not easy for humans to be here but with us, but I could make it easier for you. I allow myself to sink into a chair. It feels a little bit like expecting a proposal of marriage, only to get offered the role of mistress, a spy, a sneak, a liar and a thief. Of course that's what he thinks of me, of mortals. Of course that's what he thinks I am good for. I consider the spies I have seen, like the parsnip-nosed and figure Madoc consults with sometimes, or a shadowy grey shrouded figure whose face I've never managed to spot. All the royals probably have them, but doubtless part of their skill is in how well hidden they are. And I would be well hidden, indeed, hidden in plain sight. It is perhaps not the future you imagined for yourself, Prince Dane says. No shining armor or riding into battle, but I promise you that once I am the High King, if you serve well, you will be able to do as you like, for who can gainsay the High King? And I will put a geese on you, a geese of protection from enchantment. I go very still. Usually given to mortals in exchange for their service, geeses grant power, with a kick in the teeth exception that comes upon you when you least expect it. Like you're invulnerable except to an arrow made of the hardwood of a hawthorn tree, which just so happens to be the exact kind of arrow that your worst enemy favors. Or you'll win every battle you're in, but you're not allowed to refuse invitations to dinner. So if someone invites you to dinner right before a battle, you're not going to be able to show up for that fight. Basically, like everything about Fiery, GCs are awesome, and also they suck. Yet, it seems like that's what I am being offered. A yes, I echo. His smile widens, and after a moment I know why. I haven't said no, which means I am thinking of saying yes. No yeast can save you from the effects of our fruits and poisons. Think carefully. I could grant you the power to enrapture all who looked upon you instead. I could give you a spot right there. He touches my forehead, and anyone who saw it would be struck with love. I could give you a magical blade that cuts through starlight. I don't want to be controlled, I say, my voice a whisper. I can't believe I am saying this out loud to him. Can't believe I am doing this. Magically, I mean. Give me that, and I will manage the rest. He nods once. So you accept? It's frightening to have a choice like this in front of me, a choice that changes all future choices. I want power so badly, and this is an opportunity for it, a terrifying and slightly insulting opportunity, but also an intriguing one. Would I have made a good knight? I have no way of knowing. Maybe I would have hated it. Maybe it would have meant standing around in armor and going on duel quests. Maybe it would have meant fighting people I liked. I nod and hope I make a good spy. Prince Dane rises and touches my shoulder. I feel the shock of the contact, like a spark of static. You, Duarte, daughter of clay, from this day forward, no fiery glamour will idle your mind. No enchantment will move your body against your will. None save for that of the maker of these keys. Now no one will be able to control you, he says, and then pauses for a moment, except for me. I suck in a breath. Of course there's a sting in the tail of this bargain. I cannot even be angry with him. I should have guessed. And yet it is still thrilling to have any protection at all. Prince Dane is only one fiery, and he has seen something in me, something Madoc wouldn't see, something I have yearned to have acknowledged. Right then and there, I go down on one knee on the ancient rack in Madoc's study and swear myself into Prince Dane's service.